This video is sponsored by Square Enix. What's going on, guys? KlayQZult here, and in today's video, we're going to be ahead and showing you guys some first looks, some first impressions, and some gameplay of the newest Dragon Quest in the Dragon Quest series, Dragon Quest XI. And while it may be the latest in the Dragon Quest series, you do not have to have played any of the earlier Dragon Quest. You'll be able to get all the story you need out of this game and start it fresh because it's its fresh own story. If you guys were looking into maybe exploring some more of the lore in the whole Dragon Quest world, etc. I think there are some like Easter eggs and some lore that will connect to past Dragon Quest games, but nothing that'll take away from your experience if you haven't played one and are just putting your hands on the series with this new installment. So, Dragon Quest XI is a JRPG, meaning it's taking us back to our roots with standard turn-based combat, but they do put their own flair onto it. I have found myself really enjoying finally being able to play an updated game with updated graphics, and let me tell you guys, this art is insane. You guys may think some of the characters look familiar because they look like Dragon Ball characters or Dragon Ball Z characters. That's because the artwork was done by the same guy. And so I've just been loving everything I've been seeing in this game. They really took, you know, old art, and they've somehow put the spin on it to where they did these graphics where they look just beautiful. I've been finding myself super excited to see different enemies in the game, and guys, there are a ton of unique enemies in this game. I've only been playing it for about 13 hours now, and I have ran into so many different unique looking monsters with different kinds of attacks, guys. It gets exciting when you see something look really awesome that you kind of just want to run up to it and fight it immediately. I mean, that's how they look. So every enemy looks different. So it allows for a different kind of playstyle every time you run into one. So, and they look awesome, so it makes it for an even more enjoyable experience, in my opinion. Moving into combat here, I want to tell you guys what exactly options you have. You can see here that we have fight, but we also have tactics. And in tactics, it's where we're going to be able to pick what each unit we want them to do in battle. Now, follow orders is pretty much what I have always chosen right now playing the game, because I want to be able to tell each of my unique characters what they can do and what exactly I want them doing. But you can see here we have a allotment of different choices from mix it up, fight wisely, if we don't want them using any MP. But for the most part, for me, I'm going with follow orders. But up to you, there is kind of an automated system to have them fight for you. And just like in JRPG fashion, we have attacks, we have different abilities, and these abilities are based off the weapon we have, and we learn those through leveling up or the skill tree system. We have items we can use, spells. We can actually go into our equipment, and I'll show you guys that in a second, and change that up. And so this is what allows us to be able to fight. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an ability here. It's called the Sleeper Hit. If we hit that, and it looks, I don't know, this game just looks so good. It's so crazy how good it looks. And I'll show you a spell too. This is going to be a fire spell. My main character here, Clay, learned this just by leveling up, and it does some damage. And see, in turn-based style, they just come back and start hitting you in the face. So we're going to go ahead and finish this guy off here, and I'm going to show you guys really what I meant about the equipment and how you can actually change it up. So if we go down here to equipment, we can go to the bronze sword, and we can actually change from sword to great sword, and it changes fighting completely because you learn different abilities depending on the weapon you're actually using, and that's going to be big here. So you can see I can't use my Flame Slash because I don't have a sword equipped. However, my Greatsword, maybe it's stronger, it does a little bit better for me, and it could allow me to, you know, do a little bit more in battle. But that's just something I really wanted to show you guys because I think it's a really cool and in-depth way that you guys can battle inside of Dragon Quest XI. A unique gameplay mechanic to Dragon Quest XI is the pep mechanic. Essentially, your character has been taking a lot of damage, they've been hitting a lot of other things have been going on, and your character's had enough, and they kind of go Super Saiyan for a minute. They start glowing blue, and it looks really cool. They look really awesome. It looks like they kind of get mad, and essentially what this does is it increase all of your stats across the board, giving you more power to hit, more ability to take more damage, and this ability only lasts for a couple of turns. However, it doesn't leave when you leave battle. I've seen it actually stay on after leaving battle and coming back in, so it's something you guys can take advantage of, and it's kind of a lifesaver in a lot of different, you know, scenarios when you may be in trouble. It could save you and get you out of a hard battle. So I think it's really an exciting and innovative way to add a little bit of RNG to the battle and add a little bit of fun as well. But it doesn't end there with the pep system. With the pep system, there's also pep big pep abilities that you guys can do, which are like ultimates. So essentially, as long as you're pepped or both party members are pepped or multiple party members are pepped, you guys can do these different pep abilities, and you learn different ones by leveling up, etc. But you guys have seen it here. It does a lot of damage. Again, it can save you from a tight spot, and overall, I really enjoy the pep mechanic, and every time one of my boys go pep, my party members, I get really excited, so I really enjoy that. Just like in any JRPG, there comes a time when you've got gotten enough experience and it's time to level up. One of the best things in this game that I really like is that when you level up, you get all of your HP back, you get all your MP back, so the endless grind doesn't feel as bad, because it's like, okay, if I can just make it to that level up, you know, I get all my stuff back, I can keep going. So you can see it increases everything across the board. You can learn new abilities, new magic, new pet powers, and you also receive skill points. And in this game, there are skill point trees for each character. And as you can see here, you can go in here and spend your skill points from swords, great swords, sword masteries, luminary. This is all dependent on the character, and as you go in, you can customize that by getting new, you know, different, depending on the equipment you use, you can go in and unlock different ones to make you stronger with that weapon, new skills with that weapon, and then also just generally better and more powerful ways to use your characters. And you can see the question mark ones, which can be unlocked by unlocking little grids around them with your skill points. So I thought the system was really unique and interesting. To Dragon Quest as a whole, and it's just, I'm excited to see what's in these little question marks and make my unit stronger. It gives a sense of making each character your own, and putting them down the path for each weapon you may want to choose, and to customize how you want to play. Speaking of customization, there is obviously equipment in the game, and you can get that just in your normal fashion, from killing off monsters, going to shops, buying new higher level equipment in the shops, or finding it out in treasure chests, things like that. However, in this game, there's also a crafting system, which I have already found to be somewhat addicting. Essentially, you go around the world and you find little sparkling nodes on the ground. This is where you can collect different kinds of crafting materials you may need to craft weapons, armor, etc. You can also get them off defeating enemies, and then you bring them back to your craft table. And you get different recipes by going and finding them in bookshelves. So make sure you guys are out there checking all the bookshelves, because there could be a recipe for something you want to make, along with finding them in dungeons and treasure chests, etc. And once you have your, you know, your materials ready to go, and you have your craft recipe that you want, you enter in some type of like a little mini game that I'm finding to be very fun, essentially where you temper and you work on the item that you're making, the equipment, and from there you try to get it into the little green area. But I think you're trying to get it as high in the green area as you can, because if you do that, the item itself can actually come out a lot better if you do that, and it'd be stronger than it would have been if you didn't get it up in the green area and get it as high as you could. So overall, I'm going to find that to be very addicting. I'm assuming there's going to be some high-end weapons you can get from this, and an armor, etc. So I'm actually going to be on the lookout for all the little sparklies I can find on the ground to make sure I can make what I need to become stronger in the game. There are side quests inside of Dragon Quest XI, and they can be, you know, a nice break and a takeaway from endlessly battling monsters, or maybe searching for those crafting materials you may be in need of, where you go up to talk to people that have the little pink marker above their head, and they'll give you a certain task. Some of them require platforming, and this game does have kind of an interesting platforming aspect to it, where you can walk on tight ropes, walk on logs, jump on top of roofs, etc. And this is what is used to, most of the time, at least from what I've experienced from these side quests, to get them accomplished. So for example, this guy right here wanted me to go find him a book inside the town, so I went around looking around the town, which the towns are beautiful, by the way. If you guys are really enjoy, you know, getting engrossed inside of a game and really enjoying what's happening, I do believe the towns are very well designed. There are a lot of side characters you can talk to. But after finding the book, I just returned it to them, and they normally give you a nice reward. It can come from being items. I actually got kitty litter a couple of quests ago, which I don't know what it's used for, but I'm hoping it's some kind of cool crafting thing. So that's something else you guys can do from a standpoint of, you know, taking a break from the endless fighting and doing something else in the game. One of the most important parts of any JRPG is delving into a great and involving story, and Dragon Quest XI doesn't fail us there. Without giving too much away, you begin your journey as a normal boy from a small village, who finds out he may be the reincarnation of a great hero from the past. We run into a bit of a bump starting off though, as not everyone is too excited for the return of the Luminary. But our hero isn't alone in his quest. He finds help from allies that vary from the cunning thief Erik, to the bossy mage Veronica, and her sweet supporting sister Serena. I haven't gotten too far into the story, only being 15 or so hours in, but the characters in development are sure a strength for this title. Characters are unique and well acted, and with their personalities and backstory, it makes it easy for you to care about each one. The cast for the English localization is on point, and the dialogues are very well written, leaving me with a feeling of wanting to know more and get right back into the world each time I have to put down my controller. So all in all, I'm having a great time inside of Dragon Quest XI with the hours that I've put into it. The JRPG throwback to turn-based I'm really excited for, along along with the fact that I can play this style of game and get a new, engrossed, normal JRPG story, with updated graphics is what really drives me with this game. The game is beautiful. Obviously, I'm going to vibe with it because of the whole Dragon Ball feel to it, and I've just been having a lot of fun discovering, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot deeper than I've already even gotten into. So if you guys had that turn-based JRPG itch that you've been really wanting to scratch, check the description below so you guys can get a hold of Dragon Quest XI. It is a new game that just came out, so you guys should be able to get a hold of that, enjoy it for countless hours. I have heard nothing but praises about this game from everyone who's touched it and from many review sites, and I can't wait to finish the game myself. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you again to Square Enix for sponsoring this video, and again, if you're interested in Dragon Quest XI, check the description below.